Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey here once again with another video on Superman and Lois, and this is going to be my review for episode 10 for this season. 2/3 of the way through the season. This episode is otherwise called Bizarros in a Bizarro World. What was this? And I say that in the best way possible, because this episode was insane. But of course, spoiler alert, if you're not watching the episode, go away. What are you doing? Why would you be here? Because this is probably the biggest spoilery episode ever, because we had no idea what was coming our way. But yeah, go away if you haven't watched it. But of course, if you have watched the episode and you are continuing on with the video, let me know in the comment section down below your various thoughts, reactions, also theories and predictions moving forward in regards to what happened in this episode. Always curious to read what you guys are thinking, especially in regards to this one, because this one was a bit crazy. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video, enjoyed the episode, and just want to show your support, why not drop a like on it? So we've been away from Superman and Lois for like a month. It's been, about a month. I think 4 weeks we're away from it. So it's been a while since the last episode. So just a quick recap. Of course, that was the episode. I had to think. I was like, what the hell was the last episode? But it's when Jordan took charge in Smallville without Superman being there, because he went through the portal and he was showcasing his powers not only to Lois but also even John Henry Irons and stuff like that. So yeah, he takes charge to save the day, if you want to call it. And they shut down some of the ex-kryptonite, but it leads to something larger, which I think the end of this episode is going to lead into to an extent. So I'm very curious to see where we are come the finale for this season. But right at the end of last episode, Bizarro Jonathan, or Superboy as he was looking, arrives on our Earth, with us seeing Superman looking up in fear at something on the Bizarro World. And that's how the episode ended. And we're like, what the hell? That's a crazy cliffhanger, especially because we were gone from the show for a month. We had to sit on that cliffhanger for a month. But you know what? The payoff in this episode was so worth it. But yeah, this episode, it's probably one of my favorites of the season. I probably have to rewatch not only the episode, but maybe even just the whole season to really decide. But this is the most I've enjoyed an episode because it kept me on my toes. I had no idea what was going to be happening in this episode outside the little things that were in the promo material, and they kept some of the stuff hidden as well, which I thought was really, really well done, especially where it was going to be revealed in the episode. You weren't too sure. So yeah, this episode, so it kept me on my toes, very unpredictable, and once again, a crazy cliffhanger, which at least we don't have to wait a month for it. We don't have to wait a week, but even then, I'm still annoyed that that was the cliffhanger because I want to see the payoff right now. But yeah, throughout this episode, we jump storylines and time periods throughout the episode just to sort of explain certain things in the Bizarro world, or how a certain character is different from what we have on our world and their journey into what they become as we see them in the the present day of the Bizarro world, if you want to put it. So it sort of cuts through that throughout the episode. In some bits, it was a bit confusing. I have a feeling some people might be confused with one portion of it, because I myself were like, hold on, wait, is that present day right now? And I'll bring that up when we get there, but that's probably the only error I think they made. I wouldn't even say it was an error, because I think you just had to be paying attention. If you're sort of half watching, you might be a bit confused as to what it was. But I think they did a pretty good job, bouncing through the different periods of time and perspectives with certain characters. But we start off the episode with our Superman, and it picks up from the start of last episode, a month ago, in our time, and I guess also their time, because Superman left a month ago. He'd been gone for a month anyway. But we pick up the stuff from last episode where Superman follows Ali Alston through the portal in the mines. But of course, that is where we left him last episode. But we see things from his point of view, where he goes through the portal, getting stuck in this weird void area at one point, which looks like it had some remains of people floating there. So that's obviously the people that broke apart when they went through, so it was just their suits left. I was wondering if I don't know if there was skeletons there. I did see some helmets and stuff like that. Don't know if they went overly gruesome, but they were just floating in that void area. But Superman ends up speaking backwards when he gets through to the other side, while also seeing Anderson's burnt corpse, which caught me off guard at first. But yeah, our Superman is the Bizarro one now. He's speaking backwards. And we even see that the Bizarro world is a cube, like it is in the comics, which I thought was a great take. I wasn't too sure if it was going to be. And then when Superman sort of flies up into space and looks down, I was like, yes, just be comic booky, be weird. This is the Bizarro world. Now we see that the Fortress of Solitude is like a museum of sorts, and it shows the history of Bizarro World's Kal-El, the rise and fall of Bizarro World's Kal-El, might I put it. And I think we saw a hologram of Lex Luthor's exosuit. If I'm gonna go back and watch the episode, and it wouldn't surprise me too much if there's some other Easter eggs in the background. I think there would be, but I think you see Lex Luthor's exosuit. That was the one that stood out and was on screen the most. But this is where our Superman runs into Bizarro Jonathan, who is of course Superboy here, but there is a bit of an issue. Superman is like slowly losing his powers due to the red sun of this world. So he's not as strong and as useful as he'd want to be, or at least the other people who have powers here should easily be able to overpower him. Now, we learned that Bizarro Ali has been in power for a few months now, and as we believe from previous episodes, has taken over the DoD. And also, there's the little issue that, Superman on this world is public enemy #1, with us also learning that Bizarro Jonathan isn't the biggest fan of his Superman, so you definitely see some opposites there. Now, we jump to the story focusing in on Bizarro Jonathan, or Jonathan L, as they call him, where we see Bizarro Superman is like a celebrity and embraces it and everything like that. And we see that Jonathan and Jordan aren't that loving of their father. Now, Jonathan is the one whose powers emerge on the Bizarro World, the opposite of on our Earth, where Jordan is the one that has his powers. And they emerge when he goes to save a window washer who is falling off a building, and it's because his father was too busy taking photos and not really paying attention and not hearing the screams of this clearly loud dude. I mean, fair enough, like some random person couldn't hear it, but hello, super hearing. But anyway, that could just be due to Superman's ignorance now. But this obviously kickstarts his new life as Superboy, which appears to make him and his father much closer, and also turns Jonathan into a celebrity just like his father, pretty much becoming what he once hated. Now, there is drama within the Bizarro super family, with Jonathan going out on his own to be Superboy when he's meant to be going out with his father, because he's only 15, even though he has powers. Of course, not only his father disapproves of it, but also his mother. And this just, combines with Jonathan's issues that his father all of a sudden cares more about him and that they're closer now just because he has powers, which leads to Jonathan sort of going a bit rogue and working alongside Ali Alston and also turning against his family. Now, they do mention President Seinfeld. Now, I can't remember if that's actually a thing in like an interpretation of the comics somewhere, but in Seinfeld, the show, Jerry is like a Superman fan and always references him as well as Bizarro. Like Bizarro gets mentioned a lot of that show. Just Superman and Bizarro is mentioned a lot. So I think that was the reference there, unless it was in the comics. I'm not too sure. I can't remember anything in regards to that at the very least. Now, there is a verbal onslaught between Bizarro Superman and Lois, with Lois leaving due to the carry-on with her husband, with us learning that Bizarro Superman has been taking kryptonite to get stronger, but it's also messing him up. So that would be the equivalent of our Superman taking X-kryptonite, which I don't know if we're going to head down that road, or if it was meant to be sort of a reference to another character, which we'll bring up. Now, Bizarro Jonathan does team up with the Bizarro Lana Lang, who is like a super soldier and has powers as well, and he's demanding X-kryptonite, officially turning on his family and his world for the most part. But we see Bizarro Superman's last words to his family before heading to our Earth, where of course he eventually dies. And we get to see like the transformation of him from taking X-kryptonite and stuff like that. We don't officially see the full-on like tick, where he starts to get all these scars and everything like that. But you see like the middle point at one point in this episode as well, which we'll get to. So you don't see like the full transformation, you just see like a handful of the stages. Now we cut to the present day, where after Bizarro Lois shows up with a dilapidated Ken farm, Bizarro Jonathan flips on our Superman and demands information on all the pendants, because, it's all an act, him like teaming up with Superman, because Bizarro Lois has showed up and she knows that Jonathan has turned on everyone. But this is when it looks like Al Anderson shows up as well with one of the pendants, because he was there and then he's like, oh, is it Al Anderson or is it the other Anderson? Because we saw the corpse. And then he starts speaking backwards and I was like, oh, Al Anderson was the one that survived. So they made me very curious as to how the other one died. And this is actually when we get Al Anderson's perspective of what happened to him after he went through the portal, where he is met immediately by the Bizarro Ali, Jonathan, Lana, and Anderson when he gets out of the portal, who want the two pendants that he has. Now, Anderson actually tries to merge with his Bizarro version. I was like, oh my god, this is happening pretty quickly. But of course, we saw the corpse there. We know that Al Anderson is alive, so that has to be the corpse of the Bizarro Anderson. He is burned to death by Jonathan, of all people. I was very surprised to see that. And it sort of shows maybe the control that Ali has over Jonathan, which is why Superman thinks Al Anderson was dead when he came out of the portal. Because it's like, well, I saw the corpse right outside the portal. I just put one and one together. Or two and two together, whichever way you want to put it. Now, Anderson does go to the Smallville Gazette when he, is able to escape. and he goes there to find Lois, but only finds Chrissy, with the rest of the employees wanting to hand Anderson over to the authorities, like the news stations are telling them to. Obviously, Anderson is speaking backwards, so it's a bit hard to communicate, but he's pretty much just able to sort of, push across that he needs to find Lois. And Chrissy is able to warn Lois, which allows her to bring Anderson in with herself, Sam, and Jordan within the bunker under the farm. So they were in the farm under the farm the entire time that Superman had landed on our Earth, or the Bizarro Earth, when I say. Now, Anderson has to pass the information on that Bizarro Superman, Jordan's father, is dead, but holds, back on the other information, like, that he was the one that killed him. Now, this ends up with us, meeting up to the point with Anderson facing up against Jonathan and knocking him out, acknowledging that Superman was right and that Ali is a danger and cannot get her hands on the pendant. So you're seeing the sort of turnaround with Anderson. And along with that, we learn that Anderson only has one vial of X-Kryptonite left, which he would need to get back through the portal, though we are starting to see the effects of XK on Anderson like it would have had on Bizarro Superman. So I'm very curious to see... Look, something happens to Anderson, which we'll get to, but I don't know if it's clear whether what happened with him. So yeah, I'm interested to see where that Anderson could potentially go in later episodes if his journey doesn't end in this one. Now, we do get to see Bizarro Tal-Rho for the first time in this episode show up with Lana and both of the Alleys. They're together, they're hand in hand, and they arrive at the farm to take the pendants, who are then joined by Jonathan, who manages to escape after being held by tape. They held him with tape. I was like, he's just going to escape. But anyway, I guess it would have held him off for a second or something. But Anderson helps Superman take on the other Bizarro powered beings in the hopes that Superman will be able to get the pendants back to Earth Prime, which unfortunately doesn't work. Now, Jonathan seemingly kills Anderson. Like, he grabs him, slams him to the ground, and some blood starts to come out of Anderson's mouth. But it wasn't like his head exploded or, Jonathan burned him to a crisp or snapped his neck or, ripped him in half. He just got slammed to the ground. They mentioned the one vial specifically. I just don't know if Anderson died in this moment. But regardless, that's the last of the action with Anderson in this episode. And, this allows Superman to be overpowered, which allows the two Alleys to get the pendants and to start merging, which is what Superman was looking up at in fear at the end of the last episode. So we're pretty much at the meeting point, if you want to call it. Now, we randomly do just quickly flash back again over a decade to Bizarro, Kal-El, and Tal-Rho in a bar, with Kal-El telling his brother that Lois is pregnant, obviously showcasing how strong their brotherhood is well in this scene. And this also allows us to see Tal-Rho and Lana's first meeting, with it then flashing to their wedding. But this is when we get a flash forward to the downfall of Bizarro Kal-El, where he is succumbing to the kryptonite usage, with Tal-Rho trying to turn him towards joining Ali, which, Bizarro Kal-El, Bizarro Superman's been going against for a while. But Tal-Rho goes against Kal-El and to side with Ali due to Lana's allegiance. Tal-Rho is going to trust his wife, and this is sort of what was hinted at a few episodes ago when Bizarro Superman, before he died, was sort of, recounting the events of his Earth and his relationship with Tal-Rho and everything like that. But we do cut back to the two Alleys merging, with Tal-Rho looking very concerned at what's happening, with Tal-Rho actually turning on his wife to allow Superman to try and stop Bizarro Jonathan from messing up his family. So I don't know if that means Bizarro Tal-Rho is going to be killed or not. I'm very curious because I think he's seeing the errors in his ways, which is sort of, to a degree, similar to what we saw on our Tal-Rho, after what he did in season 1. But you're sort of seeing like someone that was turned to be bad rather than bad to be good, if that makes sense, like we saw on our Earth with Tal-Rho. Now, I wasn't too sure what was going to happen with Superman because we know that Bizarro Jonathan got to our Earth, because we saw at the end of last episode, and we don't see Superman after that moment. So I do wonder if he encounters something else before being able to get back to our Earth, if he is even able to get back. I'm not too sure. But we cut back to the end of, last episode where, it's Lois and Jordan on the porch, where Bizarro Jonathan shows up at the Kent farm, only to see him obviously have the pendant, but also for our Jonathan to show up. There's some eyes going on. Jonathan, you're in danger. Watch out. Cliffhanger. I can't believe that's where they left the episode. Actually, I'm not surprised at the same time, but annoying, but also extremely exciting. And as I said, at least we don't have to wait a month for it like last time. If that was the case, I might start a petition. I think online petitions are the stupidest things ever, and I would be on the borderline of starting one. But yeah, at least I don't have to wait a month, but I cannot wait for next week's episode to see the fallout from this. And I am curious to see if we see more stuff on the Bizarro world, because I don't know if Anderson's dead, what happens with Tal Rowe, and obviously Ali's still on that Earth as well. A merged Ali. What does she have? What are her power sets like potentially? A lot of unanswered questions, but also new questions as well, from the end of this episode as well. So, oh, I can't wait to see it play out, but I'm also extremely confused at the same time. But yeah, as I said, one of my favorite episodes of the season. It kept me on edge the entire time, on my toes, and really didn't know what was coming next, which is one of the best things you can have in like a TV show. Because, you know, TV shows, when you watch a TV show, even for a few episodes, you usually get the gist of what's happening and where things could go. This sort of rewrote that, understanding or theory on a TV show. So I'm excited to see where things go. Not only next episode, but the episodes after, leading it, you know, to the end of season 2 as well. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome. You can drop a like on it to show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions about everything we went over. I'm always curious to read what you guys are thinking. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.